Violet and the Pie of Life, Chapter 5. It was close to 10 o'clock, and I was already in my pajamas when the email came. I read it while sitting on my bed with my laptop, my door about 5% open because Mom doesn't let me use the internet in private. Dear Wizard of Oz cast member, yes, cast member, this email signifies you won a part in our fabulous play. Congratulations. We have a tight schedule starting this week. Allie, Diego, Sarah, and Violet will rehearse most days after school. Everyone else will rehearse once or twice a week. Closer to showtime, the entire cast will rehearse 4 days a week and on Saturdays. Attached are the cast list and schedule. I look forward to working with you. Sincerely, Mr. Goldstein. They got it right. After checking the cast list, I felt thrilled, terrified, shocked. Yes. I got off of my bed and paced. My room was 90 square feet, so I turned more than I walked. Even my familiar things didn't keep me from feeling out of sorts. Whatever out of sorts means, I hardly ever felt calm. When my Girl Scout troop sang Kumbaya around the campfire, I hadn't felt peaceful. I was too worried about singing off-key, and the campfire embers starting a forest fire, and mountain lions. For me, being in sorts meant nervous and on edge. I had to call Mackenzie, and that was the mature thing to do. Plus, it would be easier to talk over the phone tonight than face-to-face tomorrow at school. It was my lucky night, kind of, because Mackenzie didn't answer my call. So I left a voicemail. Hey, Mackenzie, it's me, Violet, obviously, so sorry for calling so late. Well, I'm sorry you didn't get the part you wanted. I hope you're not too upset. I didn't know I'd get cast as the lion. I'm happy to be in the play, but I'm sorry you didn't get a bigger part like Dorothy or the lion, but playing a monkey will be... It sounds fun. I'm really, really glad you're in the play anyway. I guess, did you hear that? Someone's knocking, so okay, bye. For a second, I hoped it was my dad knocking. Sometimes when he came home late, he'd tap on my door to see if I was still up. If I wasn't already up, the tapping would wake me up, and then he'd lean against my desk or sit on the foot of my bed, and we'd talk. Dad spoke to me like a friend like Mackenzie, who talked more than listened. But he always had interesting things to tell me, like the story of first spotting Mom at a restaurant where he used to work. She was meeting a blind date. Dad said he fell in love with her at first sight, so he pretended he was the blind date. He got Mom out of the restaurant before her real date could show up or his boss could blow his cover. It was super romantic. Even though Mom tried to ruin the story during one of their fights, she said, "Even on our first date, you ditched your job and lied to me." After a few minutes of Dad telling me stories like that, Mom would peek in the doorway and say it was past my bedtime and I had school the next day and blah, 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 blah. Then Dad would kiss my forehead, his breath smelling like beer and breath mints, and he'd leave. But sometimes he'd say, "Let me finish this one thing I was telling Violet about." And he would. And this one thing often would lead to one other thing, and then another thing, until Mom made Dad leave. I'd also ask Dad for advice. He really understood me, and even if I didn't need advice, it'd keep him talking to me. After I told Dad about Mackenzie wanting to quit Girl Scouts, he said he'd only gone to one Boy Scout meeting because he'd found out the next event was a 3-mile hike in the desert. Then I asked him, "Do you think I should quit?" But before he could answer, Mom had stuck her head in the doorway and ruined things again. Tonight, though, it wasn't my dad knocking. Of course not. If he'd come home late, he wouldn't come to this home anymore. It was Mom. She opened my door halfway and leaned into my room. "Did you find out yet?" she asked. I played dumb. "Find out what?" "If you got a part." "Yeah, I'm the lion." Mom smiled huge and put the rest of her body in my room. "That's wonderful, Violet. How exciting." I shrugged. "Well, it's not like I'm Dorothy." "The lion is a very big part." It was. I tried not to smile. "How about Mackenzie? Did she get a part?" Mom asked. I nodded. What is she?" "A monkey." Mom raised her eyebrows. "A monkey?" "Uh-huh, a monkey," I said. Then, to change the subject, and because I really wanted to know, I asked, "Where's Dad?" Mom stared at the spot to the side of me. "Mom," I said, "I don't know." "How can you not know where Dad is? You're still married to him, you know." "I'm well aware of that," Mom said, in a tone almost as naughty as mine. "Is he within a 10-mile radius?" I asked. "I don't know," Mom repeated. "Maybe he left town so you wouldn't argue." Mom sighed. "Maybe." "What's up, Trip?" "Better?" "He's so fidgety." Trip. All right, where are we at? Mom sighed. "Maybe." I didn't want to think about Dad leaving town or my parents arguing, so I said, "It's past my bedtime," which was probably the first time I'd ever uttered those words. It was probably the first time in history any kid had ever uttered those words. "Good night." "Congratulations." Mom backed away, closing the door behind her. If Dad had come in, he would have told me a funny story. My favorite was about this waiter Dad used to work with, who faked a French accent because he thought it increased his tips. Then one of the customers started ordering from the guy in French. Dad laughed so hard that it took him 3 tries to tell me the end of the story. It turned out the customer was faking his French too. I started laughing with Dad, and then every time one of us stopped laughing, we'd look at each other and laugh some more. Maybe one night soon I'd open my door and Dad would be standing in front of me. He'd say that leaving us had been a giant mistake. The U-Haul would be in the driveway again, but this time Dad would bring his stuff back in. If it wasn't past my bedtime, I'd call him. Dad was probably awake, though, because he was a night owl. Mom was a lark. That's what she called getting up early and going to bed early. Dad once called it a stick in the mud. I decided to email him. We never emailed, but I was a better writer than talker. And I'd seen his email address on the school forms my parents filled out every fall and on permission slips for field trips. I realized Dad might notice what time I emailed him and know I was up late. I paced my room some more while I figured out an excuse. And then I sat on my bed with my laptop, opened my email account, clicked compose, and started typing. "Hi, Dad. Just woke up to get a drink and water. Thought I'd send you an email. I got a big part in the school play. I'm the lion in the Wizard of Oz, and my best friend Mackenzie got a part too. I hope I can see you soon." I stopped. If I emailed him tomorrow instead, I could delete the line about waking up to drink water, which seemed dumb, but maybe Dad would read my email right away and get back to me tonight. If I waited until morning, he'd be sleeping when he woke up. I'd be in school, so he'd be sleeping when he woke. If I waited until morning, he'd be sleeping. When he woke up, I'd be in school. So he might put off answering. Maybe he wouldn't answer at all. Maybe he wouldn't answer at all, which made me think I should ask him a question he'd have to answer. But Mom said he might be out of town. If he was in a different time zone, maybe he was sleeping now anyway. If I waited until morning to email, I'd have trouble sleeping. But if I emailed him now, I'd also have trouble sleeping because if I keep checking to see if he responded. Looks like she did another flow chart. Let's see here. Email Dad tonight. Yes. Keep checking email for response. Have trouble sleeping. Dad responds to email. No. Have trouble sleeping. Dad responds to email. Yes. Sleep soundly. Email Dad tonight. No. Worry about what to write. Have trouble sleeping. Email Dad tomorrow. Keep checking up. See it. So if Dad responds to the email, no. If Dad does not respond to the email, no, she'll have trouble sleeping. If he does, she will sleep soundly. So many things to think about. But if I waited, I'd have trouble sleeping 2 nights in a row. One night worrying about what to put in the email, and the next wondering when Dad would write back. I definitely had to send the email tonight. I tried to think of another excuse besides wanting water, like a loud noise waking me, but I didn't want Dad to worry. Well, I sort of did want him to worry, but I didn't want him to think I was babyish. I could write that I stayed up late studying for a test, but then he'd think I was cramming at the last minute. Needing water seemed the simplest. I looked at my email again. Maybe I should add explanation points after mentioning the play, but Mackenzie said girls who use explanation points were a type, the same type who giggled around boys and wore ugly clothes just because they were in style, a bad type. Plus, if I added exclamation point after writing about the play, I'd have to use one in the part about hoping to see Dad. Otherwise, I'd seem more excited about play and then about him. I decided not to add any exclamation points. I checked the time on my laptop. It was getting really late, much too late to wonder about punctuation. I quickly typed the rest of the email. You could email me, if you want. Remember when we drove to San Francisco and got clam chowder and bread bowls at the pier? We all stayed in the same motel room and you taught me poker and we played for M&Ms. You said when you won big playing real poker, we'd fly to San Francisco and stay in a hotel suite there and go to fancy restaurants. Do you still want to do that? That would be really cool. Or we could stay at the motel again because that was fun too. Love, Violet. I sent the email before I could think about it too much and chickened out. Then I went to bed, but I didn't fall asleep for hours and hours and hours. And then down here it says 3 in a motel room are greater than 2 in a hotel suite. That was chapter 5.